What's up, crypto junkies? Welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about crypto news. You came here for perspective, so if you like what we're doing here, just take a second, click the subscribe button if you haven't already. That way you get notified most of the time of when we upload new videos, which is happening almost every single day. So you want to stay up on all this hot, sweet action, then that's what we do. Let's dive right in. Let's start with a few headlines. Huobi, or Huobi, however you want to pronounce it, has officially launched its first branch in Russia in partnership with disruptive technology centers and local state-owned VEB Bank, V-E-B Bank. Huobi continues to make inroads internationally. It's going to be a big player, mark my words. And in the upcoming months, we'll really get to see it kind of spread out its tentacles. It reminds me of like a Binance and a Coinbase. Very, very similar. Bitcoin SV and Bitcoin Cash have been trading at almost the same amount for the last like 24, 48 hours, which is just kind of strange, just kind of bizarre. Just figured I'd put that out there for you. Bitcoin, we saw a new recent low. So we saw a wick of 3270, 3285. The last time we saw numbers like that was September of 2017, September 26th. So there you go. It's bounced back out of that pocket a little bit. We're going to continue in this channel. I mean, it's been a now 15-day channel of this range of, well, the range has been increased now that we see this 3200 low, but it was a range of 21%. Now it's a range of closer to 30%, and it just keeps kind of going from bottom to top, bottom to top. So with some basic indicators, some Bollinger Bands, some oscillators, some MACD in there, you could be making some solid moves and some solid plays, yet most people aren't, because they are falling for what retail money falls for, which is FUD, and they think that everything's dead and it's all gonna die and Christmas has been canceled this year and everything is bad. Perspective is everything, my friends, so zoom out a little bit. Okay, let's jump into the news. This was posted on the 7th. Coinbase considers adding 30 new crypto assets. Oh my gosh, wait. They actually immediately started doing it. They immediately started opening up wallet deposits, and I believe it is now active. Not all of these, but many of these on the list are now active. So here's a quick look. I believe that Mana, Neo, and XLM are already opened. The wallets are opened. I'll have this link underneath the video so you can check it out for yourself. Turns out that 4 hours after this piece was published, they started adding in wallet support. I just did a quick search and I can't find exactly which wallets they've unlocked. That's okay. Okay, so support for, said it was launching support for Civic, District, OX, Loom Network, and Decentraland's token. Order books will remain transfer only mode for 48 hours. Yeah, so there you go. The first 4 are already added, and you can at least transfer into those wallets, get yourself ready. South Korean startup Presto to file constitutional appeal against local ICO ban. I like this, and I really just wanted to highlight this because companies and brands that really, I think, stand for the correct things in cryptocurrency and kind of the freedom fight movement need to stand up against the government. And this is a good step for South Korea, that they're asking the court to take another look at it, and they're going to put up an argument essentially about why it should be legalized in some sort of way and just make legislation and regulation around it. It is kind of a down the middle, easy solution or answer to just ban everything. And I think that that's a little bit lazy on the country's part, just because they're not willing to dive in deep, roll up their sleeves, and make regulation around it. All right, next, why billionaire investors still remain positive on long-term trend of crypto. Well, it's because they're all fucking buying it up right now, guys. I don't know how many times myself and now a ton of other people got to say it, but the institutions and the big billionaire investors are buying this bottom up. They are buying these 4,000, 3,000, 3,200, 3,600 levels all day. Mike Novogratz, Jim Breyer, and Tim Draper are some of the many billionaire investors in a traditional financial market who remain optimistic towards the long-term trend of crypto. It's all about the cycles, guys. It's about the cycles. Down 83%, 82% from all-time high. But yeah, anyways, just, I guess, positive FUD. Here's a quick quote from Jim Breyer. So many of the very best computer scientists and deep learning PhD students and postdocs are working on blockchain because they have so much fundamental interest in what blockchain can mean. You don't want to bet against the best and brightest in the world. Add that to the list. Next, a very interesting piece here. We've got Swift is trialing their own payment system to take on fintech, which they're calling theirs GPI, Global Payment Initiative. And they're essentially up against all these fintech-backed solutions like Ripple, JP Morgan, TransferWise. Ripple, I'd say, is the biggest one because they've already locked up over 100 Swift sub-players of the Swift unit, which Swift stands for Society Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication. It's basically like the global system for banks. It's another one of those agencies or I guess branches of the world that you don't really know about. The IMF is really well known, but not a lot of people know what Swift is and what it means and what they actually do and how that affects them, right? How that affects their everyday life. So what I thought was interesting here is, and we've heard almost nothing about this is literally the first time I've heard this. The blockchain project IIN, which is Interbank Information Network, was launched in September by JP Morgan. Jamie Dimon is the CEO of JP Morgan and is one of the guys who's come out and said time and time again, spoken out against Bitcoin specifically and cryptocurrencies, which just points out the hypocrisy, do as I say and I don't have to follow that. It's different set of rules for me. And on this note, what I think is really interesting that I've seen nobody talk about so far is we had Elon Musk get in trouble with the SEC over this tweet that said funding secured. But doesn't it negatively affect the markets when anyone, or positively affect the markets when anyone, anywhere, anytime says something about a brand or about a stock or about in this instance, cryptocurrency? Like, shouldn't Jamie Dimon be held accountable for the comments that he's made? Because his comments were like way worse than Elon Musk's in terms of Elon Musk was brought in because it was misleading and his, Tesla's publicly traded and he is the CEO of that. He is the face of that. He is the person behind that brand. But isn't the same exact thing true for Jamie Dimon? Or and a million other people like Warren Buffett, who's come out and said that it's rat poison squared or something. Wasn't that what he said? I don't understand. Where's the accountability there? So anyway, just further pointing that out. Okay, here's an excerpt from the statement released by Swift. Fully integrated with GPI payments, the service will facilitate real-time dynamic bank-to-bank interaction using APIs to improve the predictability and efficiency of international payments and look at using predictive analytics. It will later be completed with a post-payment investigation and reconciliation service that will allow for fast resolution of the remaining factors typically arising from compliance or regulatory requirements, which can slow down payments process. That's interesting. So all this has to do with essentially how quick your money gets moved around. And in traditional markets, I would say your average person walking down the street has no clue what actually happens with intermediary banks and how long it actually takes and the paperwork trail and all that stuff is copied and put into files, physical files, and is vulnerable. Not that it's less vulnerable being on the net, but I just think a better management system is required. So the point of them launching GPI is they want to offer the same service but at a cheaper price. That's all that they're trying to do. So now the price game is started, which is interesting in that space that hasn't been touched in, I don't know, probably since it was created, is now being rocked, and they're now in competition mode, which is cut down fees. One of their main features or benefits is the fee structure. That's really interesting. And I think overall, regardless of what you're looking at in the blockchain space and what's going on with it, is I see that as a positive area that was not touched and completely seemed like it was never going to be rocked is now in shambles and scrounging over the last 12 to 18 months to make something new. The pilot GPI pre-validation service is to kick off the beginning of 2019 with 15 selected banks, including JP Morgan, because they're going to be in bed with everything they need to be in bed with. They'll create their own IIN, and they'll go and use GPI, they'll go and use Ripple, they'll go and use all these other services as well. Barclays, Bank of China, and Citigroup, among others. According to Swift, the service is expected to provide total transparency to payment beneficiaries and originators, there we go, making the cost, routes, and delivery of their funds highly predictable. I guess I didn't know that they weren't predictable. before. And in slighter cool news, we got the founder of 10X, which ran a $80 million ICO. This guy, Julian Hosp, Dr. Julian Hosp, if you want to call him that. He's reportedly been implicated in connections with Lioness. It was an Austrian discount shopping service that has been declared an illegal pyramid scheme in Norway, Austria, and Switzerland. After a summer of Chinese whispers on the internet alleging he was involved in Lioness before becoming the face of 10X, a video has emerged that appears to show Hosp presenting an online tutoring session used to enable viewers to recruit new participants into the pyramid scheme. Here's what's interesting about this. And I used to talk about this back in the BitConnect days, and some people want to forget all about that, but here's what I would say. I would say something along the lines of everything's a pyramid scheme, man. And the fact is that most of the stuff that gets labeled pyramid scheme and MLM is just because the government realizes that that's a way for like a gazillion people or the entire population to become more financially free, and they don't like it. Now, I get that that is like a conspiracy theory to a degree used to perpetuate and bring more people in, like, oh yeah, he's right, yeah, that's why I should sign up. I don't think that most people are actually cut out for what is required to make money with these different programs. That being said, I don't think that fundamentally there's as much wrong with the program or as much different from these programs as what you see in a traditional hierarchy structure of a corporation, where it's a pyramid, CEO at the top, and then there's the management staff and the executives and this and that, and the advisory board sits off to the side and they have this and they can do that. It's not this foreign thing that they like to make it out to be that is devilish and demonic and robbing innocent people of their wealth. I think the government does an amazing job of that already. I think it more has to do with they just don't want something like that actually working. So just when they all start to work, you notice the trend, when they all start to work or pop or take off, they don't last long before they get slapped with some sort of cease and desist, or they get shut down or raided by the FBI, and that's it. Everyone gets thrown in jail, we get to hang somebody, money never gets returned, it gets wrapped up in litigation, and then everybody just moves on with this trauma, So I don't know if this had damage to 10X. Token is now 93% from its all-time high. I guess it kind of has, hey. Even though everything is down, I know that this story's popped up like 2 or 3 times this year, and he had to kind of defend himself. They haven't received any comment back from Julian or 10X on this topic, but 10X in the beginning, I thought had a lot of potential. Since then, I really haven't followed the project through most of 2018. I have no clue what they've been doing, but in the later half of 2017, I was invested in 10X coin personally, and I was following the project fairly closely. So we'll see what shakes out of all this, if he ends up playing scapegoat or ends up getting hung out for this thing or not. I guess we'll see. Last piece of news I want to share with you: over-the-counter trading at the latest battleground to secure institutional investment. So over-the-counter trading is becoming really, really popular and definitely giving crypto exchanges a run for their money. I think this is a good thing overall because we need more options versus just exchanges that have all the same KYC, AML, and there needs to be physical locations that allow people to transact, okay? And I know that, again, government bodies don't really like this because it's harder to track, and I firmly believe that Coinbase and Gemini have backdoors to 3-letter agencies as part of a deal that they are able to still operate and not be drug into court. I think they've kind of secured some backdoor deals. But anyway, so there you have it. December 4th, Poloniex also reported the launch of their own institutional service. Much like its competitor Coinbase, Poloniex is steadily increasing the number of services it offers to customers. Yeah, Poloniex is getting in the game. All of them are. All the original 2016, 2017 players are all trying to branch out and secure more market share and really just nestle themselves in as a player. MVIS launches Bitcoin Index based on major OTC desks. So MV Index Solutions, a subsidiary of VanEck. They're in deep now too. They're trying to get the ETFs going. They've got a lot of stuff, a lot of services, institutional tools that they're offering. The index may pave the way for institutional-oriented products such as ETFs, there you go, as well as provide further tools to institutional investors to execute institutional-sized trades at transparent prices on the OTC markets. Interesting here at the end, on October 31st, Morgan Stanley actually released their most recent report on Bitcoin entitled Bitcoin Cryptocurrencies and Blockchain. I'm actually going to read that. I didn't know that got released. The report documents how major financial players capitalize on the stablecoin trend, along with how central banks and regulators are gradually warming up to the idea of more mainstream adoption, both of Bitcoin and blockchain technology as a whole, along with a new classification of Bitcoin as an institutional investment class. The institutional trend is also spreading out into the benefits of OTC trading. Bloomberg reported how institutional investors replaced high net worth players as the biggest buyers of cryptocurrency transactions over $100,000, and how the possibility to conduct OTC trades has drawn in hedge funds, injecting huge amounts of capital into the market. You just got piece after piece after piece that my channel covers, other channels cover, that just point to fundamentally strong things happening with Bitcoin, even though the price action isn't showing it. This is where you have to be really patient and strong and not use the past price as indicator of what it might do in the future or what it should be at right now, because last year it was at this price and it did this and da-da-da-da-da. So patience is definitely something that is very difficult in times like this, but very much worth it. Most people right now are building. They are building and developing inside this space, which is going to absolutely blow up. Okay, that's it, my friends. If you like this video or want to show support for us, just click the like button. Furthermore, if you want to support us in a financial way, which we absolutely would appreciate, we need that help constantly, there's going to be a link to Teespring campaign below, a bunch of different crypto junkie designs that you can get your hands on, different colors, long sleeves, hoodies, phone cases. Check it out, and those couple dollars we make off of each one of those goes a long way. Thank you so much. And if you want to comment, you got something to say about what I just covered, comment below. And once again, if you're brand new, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you don't miss out. Okay, that's it. Bye.